I love that. Such an American. That's such a great thing to hear as an American civilian who never served in the military. Now you're talking about putting a breaching charge on a door. This is just a question that popped up in my mind. When you putting that charge on the door, how loud is that thing, and how close are you to it when it's going off? Because I imagine that's got to ring your bell, which maybe some will tie in a little later in the interview. But how loud is that blast when you're doing something like that?
Yeah, it's well, I think like everything, it depends. There's nothing, there's nothing black and white. Um, Sort of like a big hit in football. When there's a huge hit, it feels good and you get all fired up. And then when you're on the receiving end, you get up slowly and kind of wring your head and go, "Oh man, that really sucked." It rattled your teeth, and you saw stars, or you were kind of knocked unconscious for a few seconds. That's kind of what explosions are like. Also, you can. I loved explosions. I loved football. I loved contact. Again, I love being on the offensive end of it. And, even a good hit that rocked your world, you see stars, you kind of shake your head and go, "Oh yeah." Because that's what makes you feel alive, right? Um, but then, there were other times, and that's what it was like with breaching too. I felt like every time a charge went off, or, you felt that concussion of a grenade or a shoulder fired, rocket. Yeah, it was great. But then there were other times where you went, "Oh shit, I was a little too close to that one." And training is a lot easier. There's a lot more safety built in for obvious reasons. There's minimum safe distances, David, that you're supposed to be at to make sure that these calculations are done to protect you, protect your body, protect your brain. I don't think we knew at the time, how what the effect of our mind and body would be. I think now we're seeing that we probably took a lot more than we needed. It was probably good for us, but it's it's the loudest thing you've ever heard ever. I mean, the loudest plane you've ever heard flying overhead, or in a subway system, or I'm trying to make it where an individual listening could understand. But you wear ear protection for a reason. I mean, if you don't, you're going to blow your ears out 100%. Pulling the trigger and shooting a weapon that's not suppressed is loud enough. Shooting indoors is even worse. Now, this is without ear protection. Shooting off an explosive charge or being near an explosion without any ear protection is just that much worse. And so it can be, it can be deafening. It can be deafening. So
If I'm in a room and, I'm in the room that the breach is on the other side of the door, is that blast so loud that it's almost like a flashbang going off? Like, am I going to be disoriented if I'm on the other side of that door, to the point to where I'm not even going to have any idea what's going on when people start coming through?
yeah, I mean, you might be knocked out for sure. You might be knocked out. You're going to be disoriented. Depending, again, let's say depends how close you are, depends how big the room is. If you're in a football sized field room and you're on the other side, I don't know, you might hear it. You're in a smaller room right next to it, you're really going to feel it. All the above. It's like everything else. It just depends on a host of different things. Whether you're in corners or not, that can reverberate the amplitude of the force. When we get technical.